in the morning and I greet the sun. Connected with this star is everyone. Infinite energy, pure white light. Your hearts are shimmering like the stars at night. One human mind, one human heart will heal up Mother Earth with this sacred art. Master of ceremonies, humble MC. I sing out the message that was given to me by ancient line of warriors traveling the galaxy. Mother Earth is bigger than the eye could see. We live on a valley like ants on a tree. This is all made up, an illusion to me. There is no poverty, just low paying jobs and low self-esteem. High interest loans, they call payday advances. If you don't have the money, they don't give you chances. Can't pay your rent, can't pay your bills. So much pressure, it'll give you chills. But I try to stay sane, pop two to the brain. Thank you, happiness, you smell so sweet, taste like sugar cane. Everything is one where the people of the sun prophesize to come and share the wisdom of the masters. Don't call me preacher, don't call me pastor. I flow with the flow of a natural disaster, but stay as calm as a Toltec master. Sit meditating, infinite creating, waiting patiently for that next day to come. Where I wake up every morning and I greet the sun. Connected with the star is everyone. Infinite energy, pure white light. Your hearts are shimmering like the stars at night. One human mind, one human heart will heal up Mother Earth with the sacred art. Master of ceremonies, humble MC. I sing out the message that was given to me. Ancient line of warriors traveling the galaxy.
Yourself in the mirror, say. Thought if I came and looked at this, I might find my way back, you know. Trying to survive in a fucking war zone. But what I know now, bro, is that I need my familia to do it. Cause we're from East Los, ese.
As the day dissolves and the night appears, I'm walking through the pitch black, fighting my fears. The stupid mistakes that the ego makes. You think you know it all, like who were the fakes and who were the snakes? You're riding so fast, you better push them brakes. Tangled up and confused, overworked and abused. Feels like life has no meaning and I'm being used. Fuck your spreadsheets, fuck your red meats, fuck dying for peace. Killing for power only makes a cycle repeat in a negative way. And ignoring the problem doesn't make it go away. This dream state cultivates fear and hate. A nightmare we create when we eat the bait and feast on the lies, the corporate political ties, the innocent cries. I feel the sunrise, my people sleep with open eyes.
Night, I have dreams of you, and every night I awake and I know you're gone. It's true, you're gone.
And I just can't seem to give up. I chase after the sun every time I wake up. Feel my connection with everything and everyone. My intention never bends for anything or anyone. The creator of my own dimension. And in this world, these are my own creations. Happiness and love, abundance from above. My spirit fits like my body, like a hand in glove. The natural flow of the universe, a never-ending waterfall from sky to earth. Filling up the oceans, filling up the planet. You can't break her, she's made of granite and a thick upper crust. The heavens made the earth and in the earth I trust. I never give up, just adapt and adjust. Sit back and combust and walk the path of love and trust.
Every night I have dreams of you, and every night I awake and I know you're gone. It's true, you're gone.
What, you think you got so much fucking power? Control everybody's destiny? Chale.
Yo, 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 look at the chat. What's going on, familia?
Shout out to the chat. Shout out to every single comment so far. Shout out to every single question so far. We've been reading it as we got here, so there are a few things that we need to talk about.
We have a packed house
Absolutely.
right now. Right, Sky?
Yeah.
Yo, but it's a special night. This is our official 100 podcast. 100.
And we should celebrate that. We should,
and way more to come, guys. This is growing little by little and gradually, organically.
Yes, all word of mouth.
Zero clout chasing.
Zero.
This is not a gang
advertisement.
Absolutely.
Gang banging podcast.
No, we're here to talk about issues and that are relevant to our community. And obviously, there's questions on the chat that need to be answered, and I take full responsibility for anything that I need to address. I never shy away from anything because I walk in truth. And when you walk in truth, there's nothing to be afraid of. There's always going to be judgments from people. There's always going to be someone who has something better to do, right? Like they can do it better. So that door is always open. I know what I do for the community. I know exactly where my roots are. I know that I spent 3 years of my life at a place that I didn't got paid one dime, but I loved being able to serve my community in the way I do.
Ultimately, dude, I tip the hat off to you because who opens a healthy superfoods joint in the barrio?
Someone who loves that community. Someone who was born and raised in that community. Someone whose grandmother buried herself on Rose Hills so she can see her grandchildren thrive in that community, even though that community has treated this person very bad. Beat up, stolen, cops harassed, yet we have to look through the fog and find the true essence of the people that come from that community, and they're very beautiful people.
And best believe everyone that follows us and watches us weekly, you're not perfect.
I don't think we're striving for perfect. We're trying to observe, then be aware, then correct. There's no such thing as perfection. That's a Christian doctrine, right? Because who was perfect? Even the person that they talk about that was perfect wasn't perfect.
But historically, when people look at leaders, they want perfection at all times.
Well, they shouldn't be looking for leaders. I'm not a leader. I work on myself. But not once have I claim to be a part of a community, not the community. This is not my community. It doesn't say zero on this. When it comes to my art, my music, my albums, my shirts, that says zero on it because those words came from my heart, my suffering. But LA Natives is a community for everyone, just like Malinali Superfoods is a community for everyone. And in that community, there are people who disagree. And for the safety of others, we decide to make a decision, but then address the other individual and tell them that no one can be discriminated because of personal reasons. And I made that very clear at the market.
Okay, so make a long story short, what went down, Zero?
Well, there was 2 vendors that didn't get along at our market. I wasn't aware of the decision made not to let one of the vendors come. But when I found out, I went up to the vendor and I made sure in a good way, in a healthy way, in a loving way, to let that individual know. I'm not going to say names, I'm not going to say anything, but that community is for everyone. I made that very clear. That other individual, the vendor that had an issue, she took her business elsewhere. She said, well, if you're going to have her here, I can't be here. Fine, great. That's your decision. But the community market is for everyone.
Man, that is just mind-boggling to me because ultimately it's your gathering.
It's the community.
Yeah,
but I'm responsible for it. But I don't make everyone get along, you know. That has to happen organically. You got to go up to another person and find out who he is and who she is, and
Right, you can't please
Just
everyone.
squash the beef, but don't like outcast some other vendor when that's not even your gathering. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, and that's what I told her. I go, this is a community gathering for everyone. We can separate you. We can put someone way over there and you way over here. And if you decide not to come to the market, that's on you. You're not going to be chastised. You're not going to be criticized. You're not going to be judged.
And this was at the plant-based Aslan,
Yeah, plant-based Aslan. And
which is
obviously someone in the chat has an opinion about that, right? Sky, do you mind? Mondo, do you mind scrolling down to what we're talking about? Because sometimes we just jumped into the subject and we didn't really get reference of what the question was.
It's been a long while since I listened to this podcast, but I will say this. Why did a woman bully a vendor at one of the events held at parking lot at your store, Earl?
Which is
And why is that the people of ours?
because we don't all get along. We're trying to all get along. And if that individual wasn't becoming a direct danger, then I cannot restrict them from being a part of the market. Okay?
So,
but I also can't stop.
There's another comment. Children of Venus is the vendor who was bullied another vendor, who bullied another vendor. A matter of fact, she was using our temples to sell her online crap when she went to Mexico.
Well,
Everyone gets to sell whatever they want.
yeah, look, first of all, we shouldn't be using names. This is not about that. I'm going to correct that. Please don't use people's names. This is not a divisive program. We're trying to address your question in a good way with all facts and all truth.
And welcome back to the podcast.
Yeah. This is what we got to deal with. And it's okay. Fine. You have that disagreement with us. Fine. I accept it 100%. I made sure that those individuals were addressed in a good way. I don't need to say their names on the podcast. Like, it's just, let's not keep it. Let's get away from that. We're all one family.
And they're asking, is there going to be a plant-based this Sunday? There will not be a plant-based
No,
this
not
Sunday,
this,
right?
not this Sunday. They decided to take a break because this issue. We have to regroup. And we're going to take the time and space. And a lot of people are going to lose money for this. But that's okay. It's not about money. It's about how do we see ourselves through this moment.
So it's more than just a disagreement. It's like they hate each other.
It seems that way. But that's okay. You can hate whatever. The thing is that Malinali Superfoods, plant-based Aslan, is neutral ground. When you step on it, if you have beef with someone, you don't have beef with someone. Not there. No one goes to the temples and starts beef at the temples. Hey, you know what? I don't like you. We need to treat that space like that. I hate to use this example. I don't even want to use this example, but
And I hate that word punked. Like, what, she punked someone?
we don't get along, guys. Yes, people do that to each other. But I addressed it in a good way. I know some people get extra with, but it's not that. And please don't make it that. Everyone talked amicably. No one cussed at each other. No one confronted each other. None of that happened.
There was no bullets exchanged.
None of that happened. But the comments keep coming into something that's not we addressed that. And we didn't need to call a person's name, and we didn't need to put somebody on Front Street. That's old slave behavior, man. That's slave behavior. One slave hating another slave, and then they all fight each other.
And
right?
obviously, Zero, you're not picking anyone's side.
I'm not on anybody's side because I'm not the fucking leader. I'm not. The community is the leader. If anybody's a leader, he has to be over 52. I'm not 52. If I have to call in a leader, I'll call in all my abuelos to help me with this situation. We're doing things in a positive way for the community, in a loving way for the community. I hate to start the podcast in a negative light, but we do have to address the truth that's happening on the chat. You know, nobody's bullying anybody.
But I really appreciate that whoever's voicing their opinion on our chat feels that it's deemed necessary to get on the LA Natives podcast. This is an open forum. We're not going to censor anybody.
Absolutely. And I'm not gonna not answer the question. This is the way we need to exist. There's going to be disagreements. There's going to be people who do. I may say the wrong thing. I may do the wrong thing. But we have to understand one thing. Native doesn't mean we're all native, right? Because there's tribes within that word native. Different tribes, different thoughts, different philosophies, different everything.
Damn, from my experience, Zero, the Native community locally is the most it's just the most divided fucking community out there, bro.
Well, that's what we're trying to bring. We're trying to bring unity amongst everybody, even if you don't get along. We have to get to that space. One of the biggest examples for us as Native people is the Battle of Little Bighorn, where Chief Sitting Bull had to gather many nations together. Those nations had different languages, different customs, different beefs, but they came together as one and defeated that army. We can't be divisive towards each other. We cannot control other people's actions. All we could do is observe, then be aware. The awareness brings action. The action is, I'm peacefully walking away from you because we don't get along. And that's cool. We can resolve things that way. But you know what? I have to go as a person that's responsible for Malinali. You don't think I have beef with people that walk in that door? You don't think I want to tell a person to leave? And I have told a person to leave. And for personal reasons. I'm not perfect, man. This is not the iglesia. This is not the church. This is a reality that is. There is no good and bad there. There is no judgment there. And we deal with things as they come. Anybody? What?
Now somebody said, let them solve it like the natives in Mexico.
With the pistolas.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're trying to avoid that. We're trying to say, hey, you disagree. Okay, you don't want to come to the market. Okay, you don't want to come to the market.
Or bring out the peace pipa.
And someone said, Zero, you just smudge them and then make them shake hands.
That's what I tried to do. But if they don't want to come together, that's fine. I don't want to force, right? And we have to accept people for where they're at.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? The thing about building a strong community is it doesn't have to have friction. Me and Sky work together at Malinali all day. We never have I never go, Sky, man, you didn't do this or da-da-da-da. There's a cohesive, he knows that he's not only making sandwiches there, he's helping the community there.
Absolutely.
That's his contribution to that community. That's what we're doing there. And there's better ways of wording that. Hey, Zero, why did you let someone bully? Like if I was right there, promoting the fight or some shit. I wasn't even aware of it until 24 hours before the market. I would have squashed this a long time ago by saying exactly what I'm saying on this podcast. That market, you have no beef there. It's neutral ground. It's for the children.
So you didn't kick anyone out. They decided to leave.
They decided to leave. Wait, let me correct that. Someone was asked not to come without my awareness. I couldn't address it in time Because if I would have addressed it in time, I would have said exactly what I said right now, is that no one could be discriminated over personal reasons. Now, how that went down did not go down good. But that's okay. Not every single meeting we had with other tribes went down good. Of course, we had screw-ups, and maybe somebody did have a little bit of ego in there. But in this situation, I felt like we addressed it properly, and I want to make sure that I'm saying it publicly. That market is for everyone. Everyone. When you go buy things at that market, it's for everyone. And I know you militants are going to get upset about that, but we're not a militant organization. We're using the power of nature to heal our own community. That's what we're doing. What do you mean by that? I'm using superfoods. I'm using the market. I'm using the energy that goes there and says, man, this is a cool place. I fucking love this place. How long have you guys been there? We're using nature to heal our community. And nature isn't a walk in the park. It isn't heaven. Nature's a wild place, man. It's a dangerous place. You don't think we risk our lives with all the fentanyl that's around the streets there? People walk into that place wilding out. It's a sacred place, man. Let's be more eloquent with how we engage with each other. No one was discriminated there. And I'll put that on my ancestors. So we can move on. Unless they have another thing to say. And if you want to call, why don't you call in?
Well, like Z33 says, holding the market for the people is very important. Very, very important.
Yeah. Who else is going to do it?
Everyone has to set their egos aside.
Who else is going to do it? Where are we at right there? What's happening right there?
I agree. Timberlink, did I not just say Los Angeles Indigenous is quite possibly the most divisive, broken up community out there?
That's the way orphans act. We're orphans, man. We're not full-blooded. We don't have grandfathers that taught grandfathers that taught grandfathers. I didn't learn about my indigeneity till I was 19 years old. That's when I learned about my indigeneity. When the Red Road grabbed me by my braid and threw me in a sweat lodge. That's when I learned my indigeneity. We're orphans, man. And that's why we act that way. That's why we hate on each other. No one's getting a better deal. We're all the same. Focus on your art.
This reminds me of like the whole Chicano rap scene, like how everyone hates each other.
Well, that's not what I'm trying.
One hood from
that's,
another
that's
hood
not
and
the
all
movement.
that bullshit.
That's not the movement we're doing. The movement we're trying to focus on is that everyone's an artist. Everyone has beauty inside them. Everyone has talent inside them. And if you don't have talent it's not a talent to paint or be a poet or any of that. It's the talent of living, treating people properly, addressing people in their emotional state and their trauma. Orphans have suffered a long time. We are the orphan souls that time once told to follow your heart is the only road. The way back home is through the soul. To take control is the only role. Are you the dream or the dreamer? Just let me know. 'Cause stars that glow plant seeds that grow. Into the wild, wild earth you go. Forever connected. My mother never disrespected her. Her love could cure the lost and rejected. Rooted to my motherland. Shout out to my native clan. Words from a humble man. Sacrifice myself. Sacrifice it all for my motherland. I can't say it any better than that.
I love how people are outspoken about this, man. I'm sure it just only motivates you guys more to just continue to move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a part of it. This is a part of the growth.
We have a full house. Call in 626-596-1033. Do you have COVID right now, guys?
Hell no.
Because best believe that train's coming in the media.
Wow. Back to that.
LA Times 3 days ago says COVID surge in California, near 2-year summer high. Almost everyone has it. Fuck. Cyril, you have COVID.
And you know what? And you pointed out an amazing part of that picture. It's Raza. Raza acting like they don't have it. You know what? This time around, they better be better because, I mean, there was so much research saying how much of a farce it was, how much of a lie it was, how many companies made money off of it.
The homie Matt says he tested positive yesterday. How do you feel?
You know, when it came around the first time, I told everyone, I go, I want to get it. And everybody's like, what? You want to get it? And I go, yeah, I want to see if my immune system's going to handle it. If it can't handle it, I won't, you know. But then I ate bee pollen, elderberry, obviously my mineral drink. And the next time it got weaker. And
Hydroxychloroquine?
Nah, none of that stuff. It's all good.
All natural.
Nature rules my spirit, man. Nature has control. Whenever it needs to take me, it will take me, and I will not be afraid. I can't be afraid of nature calling me back home. Don't be afraid of it. Accept it. Embrace it.
The rapid spread of this strain, what's the strain called? It's called Flirt.
I've never heard of that.
Who names these?
Jesus Christ.
And they suggest it's likely rise in cases in the next weeks ahead.
Right.
So stay
And
tuned,
then
guys.
you had a good point, Armando. And what's coming around the next weeks?
The election.
Elections. The elections, right? Man, they're doing everything in their power. And it's very scary because, not scary, I take that back. It's concerning. Remember, observed, and awareness.
It's so predictable.
Yeah. It's like you're gonna vote for two of the worst. Because if Kamala gets in, you got that deep state, elitist, New World Order stuff. And then if you pick Trump, then you got dictator New World Order
Project
stuff.
25 or 2025.
So either way, it's like you're fucked if you're just like, what do you want to die from? The shotgun or the fucking AK? Right? Because here's where it sounds dictatorish. Armando, can you pull up Trump saying that he doesn't need the votes? Right? What does that mean? What does he mean by he doesn't need the votes? That does not make any sense. Well, what it means is that either the electoral college already is telling him that he's going to get the presidency, right? Which is upsetting the other group because they're two different groups. They fight each other. They're greedy. It's like vultures going after a carcass and they're tearing it up. That's the way they are. You know, one says Republican, one says Democrat, but they're both vultures eating the carcass. Right? And one is outspoken and saying, fuck you, we're going to fucking make you guys do shit. The other one's going to go, but it's better if we trick them. That's where we live. These are our leaderships, our quote unquote leaderships. It's not about anti-government. It's about make a competent decision. It's very clear that you're not. Look at they set this dude up. I seen that clip that you were talking about.
Yeah.
About Trump going to the Black Caucus. The first question she hit him with was, why are you so racist? And, you're saying all kinds of stuff that's racist. It's had nothing to do with like anything. It was really about upsetting him and making him racist. Yet he still showed up to the event and his opponent didn't. Like, what a trip. This is like a big, Shakespearean play. And everyone else is in on it but us. Well, at least not me. I could see it because I'm aware. I mean, I observed, then I'm aware. Remember, our ancestors believed in cycles. Cycles repeat. Get away from the linear thinking. Get away from the Messiah coming. And listen and observe and be aware of the cycles that repeat. If we ground ourselves to that, we'll navigate through the jungle using our tonal, using our awareness, using our creativity. That's how we survive. The way we don't survive is being cattle and believing that that's going to make a difference. This person in office and this president, man, a president of a company doesn't do anything but articulate what the company's doing. I know. I've started corporations. You gotta know. They hit us with this 90 hip hop of like fucking CEO and I fucking make all kinds of. That's hip hop right now, right? The CEO.
Dude, Kamala Harris just had her first, I guess, press conference or rally.
Yeah, like a big rally. Mm-hmm.
Oh, a rally?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She had the Migos perform. Such a fucking joke.
That's Obama.
And then that
That's
girl that
Obama.
twerks on stage. What's her name?
Megan Thee Stallion.
Megan Thee Stallion. Are you fucking serious?
That's Obama, dude. That's Obama shit. That's, okay, think about Obama, right? Let's go back.
like the Migos
Remember, cycles repeat. We're going to use...
are representations of the left.
I'm going to use my cyclical thinking to understand that Obama had connections with hip-hop, right? And he had a connection with Jay-Z, which owns Rock Nation, which they're on, right? I know Megan Thee Stallion's straight up Rock Nation.
Yeah, she is.
Are the Migos Rock Nation?
I don't think they are.
No? Close enough, though. That Jay-Z connection, which is an Obama connection. Obama had 8 years. Then we had a fuck up with Trump, but now Biden's in. So they're trying to go another almost 16 years of leadership from the rears. The unseen hand. Right?
They're basically endorsing music with extreme narcissism, gang violence, killings, treating women like shit. Go ahead, vote for the left.
Jesus. I don't know why I keep saying that. I keep saying Jesus. I have a habit of saying that. Sorry about that.
Because like Ice Cube said, hey, the elite, they run the prison systems.
Yeah.
These kids nowadays, they're fucking lost.
And that's what I mean
Right?
about like
Sky?
Yeah.
All the
Yeah.
Edgars out there in society, you guys are lost.
Yeah, they are.
But I think if the community starts to develop a cyclical way of thinking, look at the pattern. Things are not in a linear fashion. Stop going Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm not saying not to keep track of it, but what I'm saying is understand the cyclical pattern of things. It's very simple to connect to. It's the sunrise, the high noon, and the sunset. These things repeat, whether it's cloudy or not. The only place on earth that it doesn't is in Alaska, and you don't live there. But in these lands, in this area, look at the cyclical way things work. This is another way to navigate yourself, to decolonize yourself. Because it's not just about not eating and not using cars and It's a way we think. We think in a linear fashion, beginning and end. Right? Instead of it repeating. Beginning, end of a cycle. Beginning, end of a cycle. Beginning, end of a cycle. Not beginning and end. The beginning of a new cycle. Those are the sacred ways of reading the calendar. Not once does that calendar says, okay, it's going to end right here. No, it completes with Xochitl.
And when it comes to the hip hop business, there's no money in conscious hip hop, right, Zero?
No, well, nah. You know what it is?
On a mainstream level?
I think
Outside of Common, maybe?
Yeah. And look, in any capacity of that nature, in terms of like record deals, endorsements, things of that nature.
Kendrick Lamar level.
Yeah. Like, rest in peace, Chino XL,
Yeah. One of the greats.
Rest in peace. But he was a great independent artist. Like, he never really got to a place where he had to compromise who he was, what he did. You know what I mean? He was a true lyricist, wordsmith. But sometimes that's not mainstream. To be mainstream, you have to compromise. You have to go, nah, I'm not gonna,
Well, you have to sell out to go mainstream.
I don't see him. I never see. He's kind of like Immortal Technique. They're never gonna make a pop song. They're never gonna go, oh yeah, this one's for the club, or this one's for the day.
They're never gonna make a song all about gangbanging.
Right. Or promoting drugs or any of that stuff. I mean, Chino XL was a wordsmith. He's gonna go down in history as one of the best, in my opinion. But true independent artist. So, no, there is no real money. If you mean millions of dollars for conscious hip hop, if you're organized and you have your fan base, do what they're supposed to. I mean, we said that we put our website live, right? We sold 2 shirts. So that's the way it goes. Unfortunately, we're not trying to manipulate your feelings or hype you up in a way that's like false, because that kind of music, the big chains and all the money and the cars, they make you think that one day you're going to be there.
They not like us. They not like us. Honestly, the worst fucking song I've ever heard in my life. And this is coming from a hip hop journalist, guys.
So, those are the tactics they use to herd the cattle. And obviously we're not those people. So yeah, I don't know if millions of dollars are in our future, but if they do come, it'll be applied to our community. Because there's no need to have excess of things. And I'm not communist and I don't have that kind of a view, but I only take what I need. I don't take what I greed. My greed it'd be a bottomless pit. But if I take what I need, then I survive in this dangerous jungle. But at some point in time, it's a very beautiful place. Like at sunset or sunrise. That place turns magical. The danger stops for a minute. But it is a dangerous place. Let's never forget that. And if we're aware, if we observe and observe again and then use awareness, then we can have action. That's the way I see things and view things.
You being a legendary hip hop artist, Zero, how did you feel about the whole Kendrick and Drake bullshit and this hit song that Kendrick just blew up on? Apparently, he's like the king. He's like on the top of the mountain, huh, Sky? Mm-hmm. When it comes to hip hop, he's like fucking Michael Jackson at this point.
I think he's big. Yeah, he's big for sure. But I don't think anybody could ever get on that mic level.
They're trying to get him up there.
When you have a wider scope of things, during that time, a lot of the Russia-Ukraine thing was going down, So I was paying more attention to that, paying more attention to where the dollar is going, trying to be aware of that. remember, pop culture is meant to distract you. As an older individual, I can see it now looking in the youth, right? Because my children try to mimic what they're seeing on their phone. When at one point in your maturity, you go, man, I don't want to follow anything on that phone. I want to be original. I want to have my own way of looking and talking. And, you know, we were always that way with El Vu. We never really conformed it. At least I didn't. I never conformed to hip hop because hip hop, I'm going to say it, it's going to be controversial. Let's see what the chat says. But hip hop is not a culture. It's a pop culture. It requires record labels. It requires Nike sponsorships. It's not a culture like
underground hip hop,
like my culture. Like it's culture in a word that's like, oh, okay, we all kind of do the same thing, right? But it's not culture like the Mayan culture or the Aztec culture or the Mexica culture. It's a pop culture that came from advertisements and sponsors, right? That's my opinion. KRS One might say something completely different.
it's an artificially created culture.
Yeah.
Just like I think the term street culture,
right.
get the fuck out of here with that.
I think we're using culture in a different way.
Where Shaka, where Pro Club, where Ben Davis's, I guess street that's street culture.
Yeah, but that's not like, I don't know. Like to me, culture is like ceremony, ritual, a certain aesthetic. You know, like people from the Amazon have their culture. Why? Because of the way they make their the feather work that they have, the dressing, the way they walk barefoot in the jungle. That's a culture.
The hippie movement, that music, that rock music, was that a culture?
No.
The Doors and...
Nah. It was a pop culture. That's another pop culture. Why? Because it required record labels. It required, you know, those type of things. Even Bob Marley, believe it or not. That's pop culture. Right? Now, does the essence of spirit seep into it? Sometimes. Yeah, there's some very powerful, well-backed messengers that squeeze into pop culture. But it's not a culture like Mayan culture. It's not a culture like Mexica culture. I don't view it like that. There's too much influence by corporate structures for it to be that, in my opinion. And that's just my opinion. What do you think, Sky?
I think, for sure. But I think you have to also count that it's also the people that make that culture, right? Because
right. Like, what do you mean culture? Like you're younger than I, so I may have a different definition for it. But like when they say hip hop culture, what does that word culture mean after hip hop?
I think that culture is like what popularizes the movement of that hip hop movement or that era, right? Because like if you talk about the 90s hip hop era, like people might say, oh, jumpsuits or Kango or those different things that made that scene popping at the time. Mm-hmm. That's part of the culture.
So it's just like dressing.
But those
it's everything.
But those visuals, Guy, were shooting to you through MTV and VH1 and fucking.
That's what I'm saying.
The radio and Hot Topic
and 96.7 and all that. So to me, I didn't give it that pass. Now I could be completely wrong, and you can have a completely different version. But okay, let me try to explain it like this. When culture develops, in my opinion, in native tribes outside of advertising, record labels, sponsors, all that, right? Say we're in a tribe and we don't have sponsors and we don't have media, but we have a culture. And I say, look, I'm putting these feathers together as a medicine for our culture. When you wear this, think of this. It'll give you power. That's our culture.
Yeah.
There was no sponsor for me to say that to you other than the divine stars on which I'm always under meditating and giving me that message.
There wasn't an outside party
Exactly.
influencing you.
So culture, hip hop culture requires Jimmy Iovine. It requires, who else is another person that does the hip, like Jay-Z's fucking boss, Liar Cohen.
Yeah. Oh, that guy's
Liar
piece
Cohen.
of shit, dude.
Here's your culture. Pull up, if you can, pull up Liar Cohen's interview on The Breakfast Club, right? That one right there.
Wow,
that says it all right there. And this is what we're calling hip-hop culture. And they don't know that the gods of hip-hop culture come from them. Culture is something different.
Be drinking lean and syrup.
Really rough, particularly on women. But I think it helped change the course of the crack epidemic. I don't know what's this opioid thing, man.
That's what you back then. Crackhead wasn't cool. Now it seems like they're making it cool to be drinking lean and syrup. And
It's the most dangerous thing that's facing our society.
So why sign an artist that would promote that?
Because I already answered that question. You weren't paying attention. She asked me talent or issues, and I said talent. But I have to. I can't give up on people.
But I'm saying that's hypocritical, though. You're saying the
it's
opioid problem's a problem.
opportunistic. Yeah. I got people to feed. I got a business to run.
You're gonna make Dame Dash take this clip and call you a culture vulture.
Who's Dame Dash?
Dude,
He can't believe he said who's Dame Dash. Dude.
No, he said, I have people to feed. Right? That's a God. He feeds you.
Yeah, he says it's the worst thing that's infecting the planet Earth.
Right? He's a God. He could find some artist that has been through the shitter and is the most inspirational motherfucker, just like Bob Marley, to get hundreds of thousands of people off of fentanyl because of his story. But he got mouths
And
to
coincidentally, he's Jewish.
feed. But he has mouths to feed. Right? He has mouths to, that's what I'm talking about. That's not a culture, bro. I'm sorry. I don't mean it in a disrespectful way. I don't mean it like that. But I do want to expose that. Because when you say hip hop culture, you're talking about that dude. Because he's the gatekeeper to your culture. He's the gatekeeper. Him, Jimmy Iovine.
And now he's the lead.
Jim Prince Jr., whatever.
Now Cohen, he's like co-president or lead creative guy for Spotify now, like because it's taken over the world.
Liar Cohen is now in charge of Spotify. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
One of the biggest streaming.
The biggest source for music today.
There you go. See, that's not culture to me. That's not culture. There's sprinkles of a bit of it. There's a conscious decision to write something powerful and put it through that mechanism. But I think that when you develop culture, it's like different. It's just, it's feather work. It's observations of nature, and it's passed on orally to your loved one, to your community. I think that's culture. Just to define it a little, for me, this is the way I view it. Because I have cyclical thinking, right? I don't have linear thinking. I have cyclical thinking, and I observe, and I'm aware at all times. That's the way I feel, man. Like, I don't know. What does the chat think?
I do believe
What does
in
the chat think?
Well, someone says there's a drug culture. I believe that. That's definitely true.
But I don't know if culture is the right word for it. You know, like there's a drug community. Culture is deep. Culture passes on things that have been put together for hundreds of years. That's culture. And we water it down when we go, oh yeah, drug culture, hip hop culture, da-da-da culture, social culture.
But remember, the term culture, there's cult in it.
The cult part is that everyone dresses the same. But does that make you a bond? I think culture to me is a bond of spirituality, a bond of ceremony. That to me is culture. But we're watering it down. It's like the powers that be, the elites, the colonials are going, yeah, water down the culture.
So if someone talks to you about Mexican culture, what do you think about when someone comes at you with that term Mexican culture?
Customs, stories. It's an oral passing, right? Like when we talk about the July 26th Zenith, that comes from abuelos that don't write essays. You got to go to their house and ask them about it. You got to go to their town and ask them about it. You got to make the effort to find out what that is. That's what made indigenous cultures grow so fast, spiritually, mathematically. We had to travel to other people and experience their culture. They didn't have overlords like hip hop culture has. They had their chiefs and their elders, but they didn't have like a person going, they're talking about poisonous plants. Fuck it. I got mouths to feed. They weren't that. They were responsible about what was being passed on through their culture.
Well, like how Al Red Dog says, like, I agree. When people talk to me about Mexican culture, I think of mariachi. I think about corridos. I think about the balateros.
Yeah.
I think about,
Yeah. Dressing the
but
way
that's
they
not
dress.
culture. I don't. Yeah, but you're right. That's not.
That's not. It's a loose. To me, that's the way elites water down culture. Like to me, culture is a little bit deeper. Culture is a celestial event that someone is taking note of and wants to pass down for generations to come, right? Like the seed we're planting with LA Natives podcast is for 7 generations to come. Because if we can inspire your own strength to be the strongest warrior possible, focusing on yourself so that you could be strong for the community.
Like how Tim Flower says, all those cultures that we're talking about, they're all non-native.
Right.
That's deep.
Because they're attaching that word culture. They're attaching that word culture. We need to critically think. And to critically think, we can't just use word salads and put any fucking word has that kind of a meaning. Nah, culture is something different, brothers, sisters. Uncles, aunties. Culture is something different. It's heartfelt. It shifts the spirit a little. The blood cells recognize it. Culture's felt, not mimicked. It's felt.
And it's going to definitely be felt on Indigenous Peoples Day for damn sure.
Absolutely. October 12th, Indigenous Peoples Day. I'm glad you brought that up because, I have to be honest, man, like that place is hanging on by a thread. So what I'm going to have to do, and we'll start now, is declare that Indigenous Peoples Day 2024 will be a fundraiser for Malinali. So we'll all focus in on that to keep that space alive because, it's an intention, but that intention comes with prayers. And those prayers were strong, but now the community needs to come together. We need to make use of the space. If not, the elders will see you're not using the space. So, October 12th, Indigenous Peoples Day, fundraiser for Marinali. So far confirmed, headlining Quinto Sol. HK from Canada. Oh, that's another announcement that I got. Dakota Bear reached out and is inviting me to Turtle Island Fest, so I'll be going back to Canada on August 24th. So movement's happening. But yeah, I just wanted to announce that. October 12th, Indigenous Peoples Day fundraiser for Malinali. And I'll have all the setups, and we'll have to do a GoFundMe of some sort and see how the community reacts and responds to it. And if not, then it's all good. And the intention was made. I don't feel anything about it. I mean, I think that we did what we could with what we had. And remember, life is cyclical. And if that's the end of our cycle, then it was the end of our cycle. We accept it, and then the new cycle begins. You know.
Shout out to Clarissa. She says Mexicans are ashamed of their indigenous side. That's why Spanish TV pushes only white-skinned Mexicans.
Well, that's colonialism. Colonialism is designed to erase you. You can see it a lot in the African community where they buy a lot of wigs. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't mean to talk bad about it, but you know what I mean? They're hiding the identity of their true self. They don't grow hair like that, so why be that? It's like straightening your hair back in the 50s, right? And again, we're talking about the media. We're talking about novelas. We're talking about TV. They're always going to be, if they invented it, they're always going to be the leaders. They're always going to be the best ones. They invented it. Now it's going to be, we can't snap our fingers and then get away from the mesmerizing TV that our moms and dads and grandmothers and grandfathers grew up all their life. They're not going to get out of the novela. But you can. You can. If you're observe again, be aware. I think that's just the way it should be, in my opinion. Making a decision should be precise. You know, just like what we did at the market. I had to address it and say, no, this is a communal market. Everyone's welcome. Even me, like if I had such a personal thing with someone, I would leave the market. I wouldn't stop the market. I would leave. Because I can't control my emotions at that moment. I have to have that emotional maturity to leave, gather myself, use my medicines, realign myself to what my purpose and dream is. And that's to be the best artist I can be in life. And when I say art, I mean the art of every second of my life. How I say hi to someone, how I eat my food, what I eat, all of it, in the moment, while it's happening, in real time. That's my focus.
So, Ten Flower says, P.S. People are only Mexica if their family is from the Valley of Mexico. Hard pill to swallow for some. Haha.
True. You can individualize, you can generalize. But we got to remember, though, that we're not in the time where everything's organized and all communities are communicating and establishing themselves as these tribes. That was taken away. Now we're in the ocean. The ocean can be Mexica. If you're lucky enough to be on the island of your tribe and you were passed down those wisdoms, remember, we were orphaned. We were orphaned. And we're on our way back.
I can't.
Not even on our way back. We're creating a new.
I can't agree with that comment, but I could relate because my dad side is from La Ruana, Michoacan. I do have Purepecha blood.
There you go.
And of course, I was born in Las Aslan.
Right.
So there it is. I could relate.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, 10 Flowers. I'm not saying that I don't get it. Yeah, I get it. But I can't tell you where my tribe is from. I can't tell you where my fucking grandfather was born. So what? Am I asked out? You know, and I have the disciplines. I practice the disciplines. There's no hard pill to swallow anything. What pill?
Rojas says his grandmother was taken from her tribe when she was 11 years old. Now she's 50, some old Spanish guy, and we were never found, and they never found out their tribe's name.
Exactly.
Displaced.
Because it's irrelevant. It's what you practice. It's what you feel. It's going into blood memory. It's going into cyclical thinking. It's understanding that and knowing and diving deep into that blood and pulling out that memory.
And you know what's dope, Zero? That I found out that my grandparents, they spoke Nahuatl.
There you go. That's what I'm saying, brother. Nahuatl. Mexica does not mean blood quantum. Mexica is discipline. Mexica is so disciplined to understand that your time was done, that you would be the last before the invaders came. But Cuauhtémoc said we would return. The intention is really just quoting the great Tlatoani Mexica, Cuauhtémoc, who said we would come back. That's us. At least that's me. And it's a lot of hundreds and hundreds of thousands of those Mexicas, Purépechas, Mexicanos, whatever. They're all going to the Temescalis now. It's a movement, man. It's don't fractalize it with labels. Be who you are. I'm not engulfing everybody to be Mexica. I just know that I'm diving deep into my blood and I'm finding out that I cross paths with that way. And I'm trying my best to implement it blindfolded. Because they took my grandfathers away. They took my grandmother away. And they told me, don't worry. We're inside you. At least that's what my message was.
Shout out to everyone in the chat. We have a packed house. If you guys want to call in, 626-596-1033. Make sure you guys support. Buy a t-shirt. The links in the description below. Subscribe to the channel. Like the video. Comment on the video. Share on the video.
I mean, to me, like, a revolutionary act is going, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to buy my 300 pair of dollar Nikes. And I'm going to go support independent, someone who makes dope fucking things. And I'm going to buy that instead of that. Because that corporation comes with all that hoopla of Liar Cohen and all them fucking gatekeepers. It's time to be individual to support these very small micro businesses. We are the biggest population on Turtle Island. And when we become a tribe, it's over. It's over. When we understand that we're one tribe, the ones they took advantage of, the ones they took their land from, we are one tribe. Before the whites. We are the tribe before the whites. Before the colonials, should I say. I correct myself. I don't mean white people. But we are the ones before the colonial mentalities. Like, what were you explaining earlier, Armando? What are they doing over there in Palestine?
They just murdered the head of Hamas.
That's right. And the settlers are becoming more braver, right?
Absolutely.
And they're taking more land, inch by inch. Going into people's houses and saying, hey, get the fuck out of here.
And these are like the hardcore looking Jews, the one with the beards and the hats and
damn.
The ones that walk around fucking West LA.
The Orthodox Jews.
Right.
Yeah. The ones with the mansions and shit.
Right. I mean,
the ones with the $4 million homes off of Melrose.
It's like, you were telling me, can you imagine that? Can you imagine someone coming into your house and telling you to leave and saying, this land is mine now? And I said, yeah, that's what they did to us. It's exactly what they did to us. They would go into our spaces and say, you know what? This is mine now.
So it's verbatim. They're doing the exact same thing, just in modern day time.
Except they don't have AKs. They don't have AKs. They don't have grenades, and they don't have a military going in. Well, they did. That's what the U.S. cavalry was. U.S. cavalry would come in if they had too much beef with the native, mow them all down.
No, they have bulldozers and shit. Yeah.
Right. The cavalry would come and just destroy everything. They would destroy the teepees.
Oh, well, back then there was no warning. They would just come and destroy it. At least in today, like these settlers, they let them know like a day in advance.
Oh, wow. But we're talking about houses that are built out of concrete, right? How did they take care of us? They would rip up the teepee. They'd rip up all the things that we used to use to break down and move in different places. So it's the same thing. They didn't use bulldozers, but they used fire. They used knives.
And they used the Bible, right?
They used the Bible. Religion.
Yeah, the homie Palinqui said they used the Bible.
That's right. That was justifying it all. That's Doctrine of Discovery 2.0. Doctrine of Discovery was 1492, but then when the colonials wanted to go west, that's when it became Manifest Destiny.
And the settlers, they're claiming that it's their land because in the biblical history it said that that's their land.
That's right. That's right.
That's exact same shit, right?
Same thing. It's Doctrine of Discovery 3.0. We had Doctrine of Discovery 1.0, 2.0, and now Palestine has Doctrine of Discovery 3.0. Modern times. Going into people's houses and nothing, no. I mean, I don't even really want to go deeper into this subject because it's too. I don't want the platform to be bugged with it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want them to stop our voice just because we have an opinion. And the opinion is that all humans have a right to live on this earth with a non-violent attitude, where children do not have to worry about being bombed or gunned down or arrested.
Right here, this is the big headline. Hamas top political leader is killed in Iran in strike that risks triggering all-out regional war. Right. Like they could care less, right?
Yeah. They're pushing it. They're pushing it to the point of that. And they need the leaders in place to agree with it. And that's where Trump comes in. Right? Except that Trump's such a unpredictable dude. He'd probably say some crazy shit, but anyways, they're all on the same team.
It's a fucking money grab.
That's what it is. Especially with like the Biden thing, because, they're raising money like crazy. Like crazy. I mean, she raised how much? $100 million in like a day?
Yeah.
On one day?
And it's not like anyone voted her in too, right? Like that's even weirder.
Yeah. And where's Biden?
He probably shoved them in the convalescent home already. That fool tapped out, bro. Like he just couldn't take it anymore. But this is weird, dude. Like all these bullshit ass distractions, COVID coming back. Dude, they just killed the leader of Hamas, bro. That's pretty big.
Yeah. We're headed for, well, it's always been this way. It seems chaotic, but it's always been this way. And when we start to change our reference points in terms of like what it truly means to be decolonized or to have a perspective different from a colonizing settler, right? That's the farce. They're only able to do that because they have weapons. And yeah, those weapons are real and they destroy. But there has to come a time where people are going to understand that that way is just not a way of living. Like, it's really on its way out.
Panliqui says all world leaders sold out to corporations.
Yeah. I mean, they're trying to push it, but I don't know. It's like, the way I see it is like, the best analogy I can use is the elites are a fungus. And that fungus is trying to take over the forest. But that forest is vast. It's too big for you to take over. That's the perspective I have. Because I'm rooted in nature and celestial movement. A cyclical way of thinking, not linear. A warrior's way of attacking. Observe. Observe. Be aware. No excuse. All times. Every single moment. That's something we need to practice.
Yo, this is crazy. This is our 100th episode.
Yeah. I'm proud of it. Hey, thank you, Armando. From that time that we said.
We met so many great indigenous hip hop artists.
Yeah.
We threw some of the dopest shows.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely looking forward to Indigenous Peoples Day. That's going to be lit.
Yeah. October 12th, Indigenous Peoples Day. We got, we're going to start making the teaser flyers, start putting it down. But just remember, it is a fundraiser for Malinali Superfoods and you know, spread the word that we need to implement that now. Because as much as I tried to get business loans and, you know, reach out in that way, they don't give us the same opportunities. And that's okay. That's okay. If the community can come together and support it, then amazing. We'll continue the cycle. But if it ends, all cycles end. And we can't be disappointed by that. Just like all friendships end. Just like we started this show. At one point, those two vendors were best friends. But it ended. It ended. A new cycle began with them no longer being friends. You know, I can name a lot of things that had a beginning and an end, you know?
The homie Z33 says he's been watching since the start.
Oh, dope. No way, he's a day wonder.
Day wonder.
Day wonder. We should give that dude something. Yo, hit me up on my DM, bro. I want to send you something. If you're a day wonder, hit me up on my DM. Instagram, underground. 0_Elvu. Because this is a special moment, man. Like, we have a new member, Sky. You know, it started off me and Armando. We had a TV, remember? It had a TV and it had just the graphic of LA Natives till we got our logo. I mean,
came a long way, huh?
Yeah. It's really cool, man. I'm honored to be, you know, involved with such an active chat. You know, everybody has so much things to say. And even if the things that I got to admit, I got a little, I felt like somebody pinched me when they didn't feel like that I addressed that thing right. But that's just my ego, man. I still have one. Don't get me wrong. I mean, that's something that I battle on my own. But I do represent that community in the best way I possibly can, and I only think in a communal way. And I use nature as my example to guide. So I hope I was able to answer the questions and address everything I needed to.
And I'm sure people are curious about Daniel.
Oh yeah, man. Shout out to Daniel, man. We miss you, brother. He had a tremendous loss, man, and you know one of his dogs died, and he's really close to those dogs. He raised those dogs, so shout out to Luna. Have a journey back to Mictlan. Guide another soul to that place you guided Daniel. A very happy place. Daniel loved that dog.
Hey, man, us Mexicas, we love our animals, bro.
Yeah, man, for sure. Hey, shout out to 10 Flowers too, man. He's been messaging me on my IG, and hopefully I've been able to answer. I'm a pretty busy dude, but I do check those spaces, and I do feel like, you know, connecting to the audience is probably going to be the best thing I do in a good way. You know what I mean? Because we have that contest going on. So we have 2 shirts sold. Continue to try to buy the shirt on the website. You will be entered into a raffle where we will be giving away one. I haven't decided if it's 1 month or 2, but I want to make sure that person, I guide that individual, that winner, guide them into controlling their diet. And it may work for the rest of his life or her life, but we're going to give it a shot because I know I've been doing it. And I use that mineral formula to do it. So I know how powerful it is. It's a dense mineral formula. Everybody always asks me about the minerals and what do I mean by that and all that stuff. It's better just to show you. Make that connection between LA natives and the intention that we have behind Malinali Superfoods, the promotional company that supports our podcast, which is Underground Hip Hop Blog.
And guys, it's a true fundraiser. Like at this point,
yeah,
you've been running Malinali with no website, right?
Absolutely.
We have to raise these funds, guys. Let's get Zero's website up for Malinali Superfoods.
Not only no website, but no advertisement.
Yeah, no promo.
Zero ads.
Zero ads.
Zero crazy influencer going to your fucking store and filming something on their fucking iPhone and going viral with it, right?
This is a grassroots intention to teach people about mineral foods and how mineral foods can assist you in controlling your diet. We also sell plant-based Mexican food, so that the Mexican community or the community around us, and I'll use Mexican just because that's what East Los is known for. This isn't a political statement, but the Mexican community now goes in there and buys salads, and they buy the plant-based torta, and they try the plant-based tacos. Like, that's an intention, man. We're trying to heal the gut of our community.
Just recently, Zero, me and Victor, we've been having a lot of success and traction with running Bastards Canteen in Temecula and Downey on their website and their social media campaigns and marketing their specials and, you know, their exclusive food. So it just motivates us to do it for you, bro. And
yeah,
it just takes a couple bucks, guys. We have to raise the money. Like Zero says, he's been doing it with no website. Now imagine having a website, running a few ads and doing a few viral videos. We have the team, right?
Right.
Right, Zero?
Yeah, but it takes resources and you know, it's not, you know, all of it kind of works together and hey, this is where we're at. I have to be honest, you know, it's I'm usually quiet about stuff like this. You know, I'll find a way to make it happen. You know, my energía, my tonal is Malinali, which is the relentless, the plants. You know, you cut one plant, throw it over there, it grows 10. You cut those 10 and you throw it over there and it grows 50. That's my energy. I'm not going to give up. I'm never going to give up. But if a cycle has to end, it'll end. And I'll be okay with it. But, you know, again, I want to address the chat, man. How many people are on today? What, 20, 30, whatever?
We've had 35 so far.
35. Shout out to every single one of you souls. Everyone who took the time to type whatever you typed into that chat.
And shout out to everyone
the pre-chat
chilling in their standby. I think that's a good idea. You know, I'm on this crazy podcast called Cult on every Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Uh-huh.
Some clout chasing bullshit about the whole Chicano culture, whatever the fuck that is. And they just hit live when it's supposed to start, and everyone just starts diving in, hanging out. It becomes like a forum.
Nice.
Which is dope, and it worked today.
Good. Let's keep it going.
Somebody's asking if we deliver up north, I guess, for the powders.
Yeah, you can always hit us up on the Malinali. Well, we're gonna fix that website. So
Yo, Zero, in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks tops, we need to sit down. I need to go visit Malinali's, and we need to get that website up.
yeah,
Simple website, one pager with all the menu items. There'll be a link where you could purchase online and then get it shipped out.
Yeah, and we'll ship it out. Definitely, the powders can be shipped.
And we're going to use that website to promote Indigenous Peoples Day.
Right.
It's going to be a website, interactive website where you can find Malinali merchandise, food, all the menu items. Hopefully we get integrated with Uber Eats because people are asking about Uber Eats.
Right. Yeah, so we're trying to, tie up the loose ends that we have there, and
And this is all grassroots fundraising.
There's no major.
Buy a
loans.
T-shirt. If you buy a T-shirt or if you buy the mixtape off of Zero's Bandcamp, it's going directly towards the community.
Absolutely, going to the community of Malinali Superfoods, getting our employees paid, doing all the things that we need to do to run a business. We need to. I guarantee you, most of that chat's gone to Starbucks. At least once.
At least they've went in the last week.
At least once.
And bro, have you seen those prices, bro?
Yeah.
I walked in a Coffee Bean yesterday, bro. $4 for a small coffee. I couldn't believe it.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Inflation's...
It wasn't $2.99. It wasn't $3.39. It was literally $4 for a small coffee at Coffee Bean.
Yeah. It's getting to that point,
And the coffee was fucking disgusting.
So yeah, we're in that mode. But this will be the proof of how strong our community is. How can we come together for Malinali Superfoods? We're putting together regardless whether we meet our goal on GoFundMe or not, or whatever platform we decide to use our fundraising efforts in. Indigenous Peoples Day is going to happen, October 12th. And we're going to close down the street. We're in the works of closing down that street. So it's going to be probably one of the biggest festivals. And if we don't meet our goals, okay, it'll be the best party we ever threw on Whittier Boulevard.
Bro, we have the email lists for the prior 2 years.
Yeah.
This is the fourth, right?
No, third.
Okay, so we have the email list for the last two. We're going to open up the website, utilize the email list, promote Indigenous Peoples Day, which in essence will promote the website, the storefront, hopefully get more sales for the products, and let it be sustainable, make it profitable.
And then invest that profit back into our community.
Absolutely.
100%. So.
And if anyone hasn't stopped by Malinali Superfoods, make sure you guys stop by.
Absolutely. Come support.
It's in the heart of East LA.
East Los Angeles, Whittier Boulevard, historic Whittier Boulevard. We're one of the biggest protests that happened against the war, led by Ruben Salazar. Man, we have a powerful voice.
Native Hustle says, how much for a vendor spot on Indigenous Peoples Day?
Oh, yeah. That information.
All those details will be on the website in the next 2 weeks. Trust me, man. I'm going to get my head out of my ass, and I'm going to help Zero out with the Malinali Superfoods website and get it cracking.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have an opportunity to continue to build a very strong foundation, and we did that for 3 years. But, I have to be honest, man. It's hard to build a temple by yourself. The community's there, but they don't know the truth about it. They don't know the in-depth part of it. And if we could come together as a community and make sure that space stays alive for the next 7 generations, then that's what we need to do and come together. So October 12th will be a fundraiser for Malinali Superfoods. So we'll start promoting it now. We'll get our flyers and propaganda in order. Vendor stuff will be, vendor information will come out soon. And we got about 2 months to do this. So hopefully.
I'm specifically going to open up a page. It's going to be MalinaliSuperfoods.com is going to be the main website. And then the page for Indigenous Peoples Day is going to be monolinesuperfoods.com/Indigenous Peoples Day LA.
Right on.
And that's going to be the landing page for all info regarding Indigenous Peoples Day LA.
Yeah, we're going to organize all that stuff for you guys so that, we get a streamline and we get, we come together as a community and as a family, and that's all we want. We don't want anything else. We don't want anything else. I don't want to be the mayor of East LA. I don't want to be a famous rapper. I don't want to do any of that. I just want to be a good artist. Because my abuelos taught me how to be a good artist. They said goodbye to me hundreds of years ago. But they planted their seeds in my heart. Forever. Forever. We'll see you next week.